Go Green, a Family Matters Earth Day special, is made possible by the following partner.
At Providence Health and Services, we're as committed to the health of our planet as we are to the health of our patients. That's why we're doing our part to support sustainability. Providence knows a healthier world makes for healthier people.
We need to give back and protect what's there.
So we want volunteers out there doing projects that make a difference.
I think it's a great example of true sustainability.
These are all ways that we can conserve our natural resources.
You look back on it and you say, this is a no-brainer.
Go Green, a Family Matters Earth Day special.
Hello, I'm KATU meteorologist Dave Selesky, and welcome to Go Green. In the next half hour, we'll meet people who are creating ways to cut back on our consumption and are making choices to ease the burden on our planet. It's the unique backyard edition that's protecting wildlife in our neighborhoods. Let's check out and see how the KATU is letting our furry friends live in harmony with nature.
We love plants, we love watching animals and birds in our yard. We have migratory birds coming through, and especially right now, and we have resident birds, and we just don't want the birds interfered with by our cats.
Wildlife face a lot of pressures, from habitat loss to climate change, but then as wildlife face big pressures like that, we need to also make sure that pressures like outdoor cats and window strikes are also addressed in urban areas. Cats are a major impact for regional wildlife. At the Audubon Society of Portland, we have the state's oldest and largest rehab facility for wildlife, and cats are the #1 known cause that we intake injured birds. Mary's yard is certified through our backyard habitat certification program. She has a gold level certification, and so part of that means that she's creating habitat for birds, but also that she's doing things in her yard that are reducing hazards for birds. Yeah, KATU is an outdoor cat enclosure that keeps your cat safe from predators like coyotes and other dangerous things in our neighborhoods, and then it also keeps wildlife safe from the predation of cats.
We have a kitchen window that we keep open, and our contractor built a box on the outside of the window for a platform for the cats and a little flap at the end of the window so that the cats could use the ramp that's built, that's all screened in, to take them along the outside of the fence and into the catio. They come through the top entrance to a shelf, and then they have to jump to the other shelves. So they're keeping active, they're keeping healthy.
In a backyard like this, especially a backyard like Mary's, where she's trying to use native plants and to increase great habitat in her own backyard, it's really important that we're not creating those ecological traps where we're inviting birds to come in and use the wildlife in our yards, but then also be at the risk of our household cats.
I think everybody has a different perspective on what they can do, and for us, we felt that we could do our part to make sure that our cats were not only safe from the predators that go through the neighborhood, we have coyotes, but that they were not preying on wildlife that was coming through the yard. We feel it's our job and our responsibility to keep the creatures that we love safe, and that includes the cats and the birds.
To learn more about KATUs, just head to the Family Matters section at KATU.com. There you'll find a complete resource center with information, video clips, and links to help you go green. It may be pretty to look at, but it's causing major damage in one of our greatest parks. Let's see how the No Ivy League is protecting Forest Park, one tree at a time.
Awesome. Good morning, everybody. Thank you all for coming out here today. It's so great seeing so many faces. Today, this is our No Ivy League project, which occurs on the first Wednesday of each month, partnered with Solve as well. Forest Park is over 5,000 acres, and it's the largest park within city limits in North America. So it's just important habitat for species that live here year-round or species that are migrating north or when they're migrating south as a stopover for food and habitat.
Oregon's a beautiful state, but we do have some pretty major issues facing our communities. We've got invasive plants that are taking over our natural areas. So we want volunteers out there doing projects that make a difference.
Today we're going to focus on invasive species removal such as English ivy. English ivy being the predominant invasive species in Forest Park, it's non-native and it's invasive, so it takes over the natural habitat in our ecosystem. It will shade out a lot of our native plants. It'll also start to climb up our native trees in the park and could shade those out and cause those trees to die. Ivy specifically is an evergreen. People brought it in for beauty to plant in their yards as a landscaping plant. Little did they know it would spread and thrive here in the Pacific Northwest climate. So this is a piece of mature ivy that was cut off a tree about 3 years ago. So this whole thing is ivy. Every bit of this thing is ivy. And so as they mature and get up to the canopy is when they get more mature and woody. And so it adds a lot of extra weight to the trees. So not only is the ivy shading out the canopy up above, but once you have all this added weight, it can cause the trees to fall over. So if we can first prevent having all that added weight by removing ivy off the trees is one step to protecting our natural areas. Our priority is going to be just to work around the trees. So we go about 6 feet out around the tree and try to create like a donut or a circle around that tree. And that way it'll take many, many years for the ivy to grow up that tree. But you'll see it's a vine and it puts down these little tap roots, some of them bigger than others. So you can usually go to the bottom where it's really loose and lift that off. And either it comes off because it's pretty low or use your loppers to clip it right where it is. Once you've got most of the ivy, you really want to make sure you go in there and get any roots that are left behind because those are just going to come back. If you chop the pieces small enough, it won't have enough energy for that plant to reroot. We need to give back and protect what's there. So we have a lot of users in the park, a lot of people moving to Portland and want to make sure that future generations can come and enjoy the park for what it is and protect it from decreasing the biodiversity in the park.
It's one of the final parts of our holiday tradition, recycling the Christmas tree. But have you ever wondered what happens after the tree leaves the curb? We tagged along with the Boy Scouts of America to see how they help us go green during the holidays.
We're doing this, it's a combination of Troop 530 and Troop 35. The Scouts come out together and the two troops in Tualatin join together, recycling the trees.
We're basically collecting them and recycling them for people who really don't want to have all the hassle of going off and doing it themselves. So I think it's a great idea.
It's a good way, good for the environment. We take them to S&H and they chip them up and reuse the mulch.
We feel like this is a great community service. People don't have to worry about their trees. They're going to be taken care of and taken care of responsibly. We're able to take all the trees out to S&H and they chip them for us, and it makes sense to do that responsibly with the environmental.
The Scouts enjoy the hard work and the camaraderie of doing it. I know we have several Scouts that have aged out or gotten their Eagle Scout and they come back every year and help.
It really feels good to get out and do something for the community because I know, like, I've had to cut up trees, put them in the recycling before. That's not very fun. And honestly, I enjoy driving around, picking up the trees, maybe getting to throw a few trees. They just chip them up, so they're gonna degrade and go back where they came from. And I feel good when I do this, and I really enjoy doing it.
You could take this year's Christmas tree off to the chipper and make mulch, or you could transform it and make it into an upcycled family treasure.
What we're working with today is the Christmas tree to walking stick upcycling. What you need to do first is you need to reduce all of it. So you need to take off the limbs. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it on its side so that it's nice and stable on the ground. So I have my feet spread out and my hand is way up here on the branch, and I'm going to cut pretty close to the base of that branch. So there's three types of cuts that we're going to do today. We have the folding saw cut, using your knife as a hatchet cut, and then we have the more controlled but slower process of using the thumb push cut. So now we're going to select what part of the tree we're going to use for the walking stick. I like to have my arm at roughly a 90-degree angle, so that means it's coming down and going flat across, just like you're using walking poles. So once you get all of those limbs off, you're going at the bark and taking it off layer by layer until you get down to the wood. Then we'll focus on taking off the knots. So those are the places that are left over from the branches that you've cut off. The next step is shaping it, so making that handle nice and comfortable for you to hold. I'm going to start looking at what sort of chunks I want to be taking off. So I want to be taking off bite-sized chunks to start. We want to work with the wood to accentuate its natural beauty, to draw that out. So what I'm doing here is rounding it out. We've rounded off the top, we've rounded off the bottom, making sure that it won't fray anymore. It's nice and close to those knots so it won't split. So with a little time and effort, you can make something out of something that would have ended up on the scrap pile or in the compost. Now I have something that's recycled. You're going to be able to have this walking stick with you, always prepared for any situation. You now have those skills to carry with you as well.
Before you start your walking stick project, make sure you have good adult supervision. And for more information, go to the Family Matters section at KATU.com. When it comes to cooking and the environment, sticking to the seasons is the way to go. Our friends at Providence Health and Services have the recipe for creating an environmentally friendly and delicious dish.
Hi, I'm Chef Say with Apple a Day Cafe in the Providence Heart Institute. One of the questions that I get asked all the time is, how can I be more green in the kitchen? And I say, it's very simple. Shop local and shop seasonal, especially when it comes to produce. This is a purple sprouting broccoli, really great flavor, fun color, very high in vitamin C. I've got some really great watercress here. Adds a nice zip to salads and sandwiches, even soup. I've got some great radishes that just popped out of the ground, really nice and crunchy and flavorful, great in salads and soups. It's asparagus season, so it's time to put those on the grill or saute up some with a little bit of olive oil, fresh herbs, and a little salt. And then finally, my favorite, my personal favorite, are pea shoots. These are the sprouted peas. You snip them off, and I make salad out of these, or actually I just eat them by the handful at my desk. For this Earth Day, I'm going to make a very simple risotto with a farmer's market twist. I've started out by sauteing some onions here in my pan with just a hint of olive oil. And I just want to saute them until they turn translucent, but I don't want them to caramelize and brown. So now it's time to add our risotto. Now I'm using arborio rice because it's a short grain rice. That means it has higher starch content. As we stir around the rice in the pan, one of the things you'll start to notice is the edges of the rice turn translucent. That tells me that they've heated up enough so that they're ready to accept the liquid. I'm just going to use a really nice vegetable stock. Pour the first third of your stock into the pan. Risotto is one of those dishes you really don't want to walk away from. So you're going to spend the next 20 minutes hanging out with this beautiful dish, stirring it from time to time. As you do this, one of the things that happens is the starch starts to release from the rice, causing the risotto to be really nice and creamy. See how all the liquid has been primarily absorbed? That's your cue that it's okay to add the second third of the liquid. So at this point, before I add the rest of my liquid, I definitely want to taste the risotto to find out how done it is. Still a little bit crunchy, so that means I can add the final third of my liquid. The trick with risotto is to cook it until it's al dente, which means it should have a very slight bite to it, be nice and creamy. It's been about 20 minutes. The risotto is perfectly cooked. I've got some beautiful asparagus that I'm gonna put in. And of course, a little bit of Parmesan cheese. And finally, I've got this beautiful puree that I made of fresh parsley, a little bit of mint. You could even add some watercress in there. To finish the dish, I'm gonna sprinkle on a little bit of fresh grated Parmesan and of course, some pea shoots on top. Now, how's that for going green?
If you want to join Chef Say for a free lunch and learn her secrets to mastering a perfect risotto at home, go to our website at KATU.com. Treating local water can be an expensive process, sending a lot of power and resources down the drain. Let's see how one local city is leading the way creating clean water and the power to process it.
The wastewater treatment plant treats the wastewater for the entire city. We have some large, what are called aeration basins, and they look like large swimming pools of bubbling wastewater. And essentially, this is where the microbes are doing their job. They are actively eating and breaking down the wastewater.
This is one of our 4 secondary clarifiers. It's one of the final hydraulic processes for treating wastewater. All of the solids are settling out. The water you see going over the weirs is the final product going to the Columbia River before disinfection.
Wastewater in itself has energy within it. So as we treat the wastewater, the biogases that are produced in the treatment process, we harvest those biogases and we burn them and produce energy here at the plant. We are one of the only in the country that is a net zero energy plant. So we produce as much electricity here at the plant as we use. Now we also work with private fog haulers, fats, oils, and greases that take fats from the local restaurants, the waste product, they bring them here, they dispose of them with our facility, and we produce more energy.
So this is our fats, oils, and grease storage tank. When a fog truck comes in and unloads, it's unloaded into this tank. A pump will slowly pump the contents of that tank into our digesters. And then the microbes in the digester will produce biogas and solids, and the biogas is used to fuel 2 400-kilowatt Caterpillar engines.
We do have solids that have been pulled out of the water, and those solids are deposited in trucks.
This is the result of all the solids that come into the wastewater treatment plant. We do about 2 or 3 loads a day. 4 million dry pounds of this product a year. So this product is beneficially reused on agricultural land. It's used as a fertilizer on fields.
The energy that we produce here at the treatment plant, we actually use right here on site to not only treat the wastewater, but to power the buildings that our employees are working in, to heat those buildings and to power them. Wastewater treatment's an extremely energy-intensive process. We've tried to produce as much clean energy here on site as we can. This is definitely, I think, one of the smarter things cities can be doing to protect the environment. You look back on it and you say, this is a no-brainer. This is something that was the right thing to do, and we're very, very proud that we did it.
It's a part of your home that can make a big impact on the planet. Let's see how some are making a switch to reduce the stress on our water supply.
In the city of Portland, there are pipes that take both our storm water and our sewage away from our homes. So anytime you have a pipe from, say, a downspout off your roof, that water goes into the same pipe that water from your toilets and sinks and showers and things like that. So as we add more and more population, those pipes keep getting more overwhelmed and overwhelmed. The composting toilet is something that we installed initially as a way to minimize the amount of waste going into the sewer system, and that includes both liquid waste and solid waste, and it also includes the water that we use to flush toilets generally. We were one of the first commercial composting toilets in Portland. We wanted to show folks that there's a way to not only reduce the amount of water on their landscapes, but also to reduce the amount of water that they use within their homes. Here's our composting toilet. You can see it's a pretty standard looking toilet. You get to see the seat up here. You'll notice that there's no water tank in there. You come in here, do your business. If you go liquid, you basically put the lid down, wash your hands, leave. If you go solid, what you do is reach in here, grab a scoop of these wood shavings and add those right to the system in there. Shut the door, close it, wash your hands, and you're done. This is the unit below the seat. So the seat is right above coming into this unit. This is the top of the unit here with the top drawer here that gets accessed through these pivot points. And here you see the tine. So what this is a bar that goes through the material and then has several bars on the sides of it. So when you when you pull on this lever, it will actually turn those tines within the system. So this happens about once a week or so. When the liquid falls through the system and gets filtered through, you want to keep the top of the pile as wet as possible, as wet as it needs to continue to break down. You can use this pump. It's a non-electric pump, and it essentially siphons the liquid from the bottom. So you keep pumping this, and liquid will come up here and go up to the top and be able to move liquid from the bottom to the top of the pile. If the pile is starting to cone, kind of rake it down flat, and then turn these tines to keep it aerated and keep it composting. The idea isn't necessarily to make compost as it is to take water and waste out of the system. Every time you use the bathroom, you're using at least 2 gallons of water. And with a system like this, you're not. There are other options besides flushing our waste with water, with clean Bull Run drinking water. Whether you're installing a rain garden, putting in an eco roof, or putting in a composting toilet. These are all ways that we can conserve our natural resources and make a difference.
Hi, I'm Carl Grimm from Metro. With kids and pets playing on your lawn, you may be asking yourself, how do I keep the weeds at bay without weed and feed and other potentially harmful chemicals? Now, whether you want the manicured look or a no-fuss eco lawn, there are simple steps to success. For the manicured look, your main goal is keeping the grass healthy so it outcompetes the weeds. First, be sure you have enough sun. Grass needs ample sun to stay strong. Mulch mow at least once a week, which means leaving the clippings on the lawn to decompose into organic fertilizer. Use sharp mower blades and keep the mower set on high for tall turf that leads to deeper roots and healthy grass. Lightly fertilize with a slow release or organic fertilizer in spring and or fall to foster healthy grass growth and to discourage clover. Overseed once a year in spring or fall, with about 1/4 of the seed required for new lawn. In summer, water just 1 inch a week so the grass is happy and the moss, buttercup, and weedy bluegrass kept at bay. Now, if you have heavy clay soil, you may benefit from spreading a thin layer of 1/4-10 gravel or mason's sand. 1/4-10 gravel and sand helps break up clay soil to improve root growth. This may look strange, but the grass will grow through. In fact, this area right here was completely covered with gravel just 10 days ago. And core aerating, which is removing soil plugs and letting them lie to decompose. When weeds do come, pull them out by hand and overseed the spot to keep new weeds from coming. Now, if you're just looking for something green and easy to care for, EcoLawn might be right for you. EcoLawn could be as simple as mowing whatever's growing. Mowing low to the ground can help make it look tidier. Now, if you'd like to start an EcoLawn from scratch, use a mix that includes lawn seed and flowering plants like yarrow and daisies and clover. To keep EcoLawn looking green in summer, water 1 inch every couple weeks. Now, whether you're growing sports quality turf or no-fuss EcoLawn, you can avoid pesticides in your yard to protect your children's health, your pets, and our local waterways. If you'd like to make the Healthy Lawn and Garden Pledge and get your own pesticide-free zone sign for your yard, go to OregonMetro.gov. To learn more about natural gardening and other tools for living, ask Metro.
We're here at the Waste Transfer Station in Portland, Oregon, where mountains of garbage and material head off to the landfill every day. Let's see how a local family business has created a destination for recycling.
So my dad started the company back in the 60s with my mother, and they started a little logging operation, a little land clearing. Material that came off the firewood logs, the bark dust and stuff, needed recycled, and people started asking if they could bring their tree trimmings in, and it kind of progressed from there. We recycle grass clippings, tree trimmings, wood waste, such as construction waste, yard debris we compost. The palletized wood goes to a separate source, which they use to make boiler, fuel, and power production. We have pickers on the ground where people are dropping the stuff off. I many Christmas trees do we process in a season? We would do probably 15 to 20,000 just over the course of about 3 weeks. Christmas trees can go either way. We can compost them, or they could go into the fuel side with the pallet wood. Yeah, we get quite a few cinder blocks. We get a lot of just concrete chunks. Then there's some porcelain and countertops that people do. Mostly it's from remodels. We'll break it down with a big hammer. We can get 1.5 inch minus, and then we also make a 3/4 minus recycle. We try to keep everything sustainable, you know, as close and local as we can, saving the transportation and all the different things that people should try to do.
It's one of the most common fashion choices there is. It's also one of the most common materials that heads to the landfill. Let's check out a unique way that your old jeans are getting a second life, insulating your world.
If anybody's ever held fiberglass insulation, you feel that itch later, that's those little glass fibers that can actually exist in your body forever. This is Bonded Logic Ultra Touch recycled cotton bat insulation. It starts out as blue jeans, as cotton. Old jeans, factory floor sweepings, things like that get processed and made into this bat that goes in your wall. The cotton is obviously safe to touch and handle, just like our clothes. It's not going to hurt us like a fiberglass particle could. It's formaldehyde free, plant fiber, made into denim that we all wear and touch and handle. So something like cotton, even a kid or a pet can touch it and handle it, and you don't have to worry about after effects. The manufacturer has done recycled blue jean drives. They also get it from the blue jean factory when they trim and cut and finish the jeans. And so it's really all those places in the denim supply chain they get a little bit from. Well, you can actually see the threads and sometimes even a little piece of fabric from the denim. And it gets basically shredded and then made into a bat, we call it. It's a consistent layer, a strip of insulation that fits in your wall cavity.
We're on the 5th floor of Standard Plaza, and these offices, which would normally house our employees, are being completely renovated from the ground up.
Most of our material choices, we are very conscientious of the fact that we want to have products that do not off-gas and don't create an environment which is toxic to the employees. This is one of many of those decisions that we make along the way when we're doing the remodeling projects.
Turns out that denim has the incredible ability to absorb sound and distort noise.
It's a dense product. It's a little heavier than a regular insulation. It has easy handling properties. You do not need to have gloves and masks and goggles on to put this on the walls.
There are no VOCs in this, no irritants, no harmful chemicals or products that are going to irritate anybody's skin or off-gas anything dangerous in the environment.
A lot of people think about pollution and they don't think about the air within their home. We want to make sure that that air is safe to breathe. It's not going to hurt your personal health when you're handling it and putting it in, and throughout the life of the house, it's going to improve the energy efficiency, the indoor air quality, and make it a little bit quieter.
We've only scratched the surface on things we can do to ease the burden on the environment. For more information, head to the Family Matters section at KATU.com. There you'll find a complete resource center with links, video clips, and information to help you go green. For KATU and Family Matters, I'm Dave Selesky. Good night.